besties, welcome back to my channel, or hi, my name is Stacy if you're new here. So for today's video we're doing a try on haul of the things I bought during the Sephora sale and also just some other like newer items that I haven't made a video about yet. Also, this Sephora sale haul is actually pretty mini. I didn't buy too many things during this sale just because I was actually saving up for the new flower nose collection that also released during the sale. I do plan on making a video with the new flower nose collection hopefully. So yeah, that's why I had to shop a little bit more minimally this sale. And as usual, all the products will be linked down in the description below. And if you're so inclined to buy anything because of me, then make sure to use my links because it really helps support this channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And let's just get right into the video. Okay, so we're gonna start off with foundation, and I'm gonna be using the KVD Good Apple Serum Foundation. So I didn't actually buy this during the sale, but I just got this in PR, and it is like a newer foundation, so I figured I might as well test it on camera. And I already tested this out once yesterday, so I already kind of have a feeling about this. So first of all, the foundation is super liquidy, and I also recommend working pretty fast with it because I feel like it dries down pretty fast. I can tell you right now that I'm gonna like using this one with a spatula. It's hard to do this on camera. This is how I do it with the spatula. If you're not familiar, this is like a K-beauty technique, and it basically just allows you to get the thinnest foundation application possible. And you really want that with this type of foundation because this is like a full coverage foundation. Like, she's full coverage. You can see that, right? Like, that was a really small amount, and it just erased this entire part of my face because as you can see, it like covers pretty much everything, although like since I am using such a little amount, it's more like a medium coverage, but like it looks so natural. I think especially because I used a really tiny amount, which is again why the spatula is so good. It'll make your makeup never cakey, and it will never like slide off your face, you know, because you like barely added foundation. You can see the difference, right? Perfected. And this is my bare skin. This is the shade Light 010. And I'm normally like a fair light neutral foundation, but this one is technically a cool foundation in KVD's line. I find that their line runs a little bit yellow. So I said to work fast, but I'm not working super fast because I'm talking. Yeah, obviously if you don't like fuller coverage foundations, you're not gonna like this one. But I think for a full coverage foundation, it's pretty lightweight, but that might just be because I'm applying this with the spatula, but you can see like how far that spreads, right? Like the coverage, it just keeps going. And this is a more like matte foundation, more natural matte, I would say. Like actually yesterday I didn't even really feel the need to set it that much, but since I do have oilier skin, I still set in my T-zone a bit. But it is kind of like self-setting, which is something I'm not used to because I do normally tend to gravitate towards more glowy foundations. I think this would be great for anybody with like more normal to oily skin. I feel like if you're dry, you could get this to work. I'm not sure because I don't really have dry patches, but it's probably not going to be like your favorite foundation because it is more mattifying. Also, the glow you're seeing is from my moisturizer from before. It is mattifying the glow a little bit, but you see how it's still letting that like kind of satiny sheen peek through. Also, yesterday I wore it out. I didn't like film a wear test. It held up throughout the night pretty well. I'll have to keep wear testing this, but so far I'm really impressed. But yeah, I think the key is definitely working in really thin layers because you really don't need much with this to get that full coverage, but you can get like a really full coverage if you want. But then you can also make it kind of natural looking, which is my preferred way of wearing it. And like, look how flawless that looks. Oh yeah, also yesterday I kind of like sweat a lot, so like I sweat really easily, and it actually held up pretty well like under sweat. So I don't know, I feel like this might be a really good foundation for the summer, especially because I'm a little bit oilier in the summer. This is what it looks like up close. Like obviously you can still see some blemishes because I didn't add that much, but I feel like it looks better at this medium coverage. But overall it's just like it looks very perfected. The shade range is kind of whack though, in my opinion, because it goes very light actually. I don't know about the deeper shades. I would say go a little bit deeper than what you normally think you are, because I'm in the light category when I'm normally in the fair, if that makes sense. Now let's go into, this is my first Sephora sale haul item. So this is the Bobbi Brown Skin Corrector Stick, and I have mine in the shade Light Bisque. It has the color on the outside. And then this is what the stick looks like, so you can see I haven't used it yet. This is the color of the stick. If you've been watching me, you probably have known that I like to use this Bobbi Brown color corrector, and she's about to be done, as you can see. So I figured I should pick up a backup. This one's also in the shade Light Bisque. But yeah, so this one's just like in the little pot, and then this one's in the stick, so I figured I might as well try the stick just so I can see if there's a difference. I like to color correct just because my under eyes are quite hollow, and they're always kind of dark. You can see it pretty well if I tilt my head like that, but ooh. So this stick is really creamy, like it just glides on. So far I'm liking it because it's just a lot more convenient. Let me just use this Rare Beauty brush Okay, so far I'm actually really liking this. I feel like it's a little bit thinner of a formula and also a little bit less dewy maybe. But yeah, I do like that it's a really glidey stick. So it's like, it's not dragging on the skin, which can be a problem with sticks sometimes. Also has a magnetic closure. So now we're gonna go in with my full coverage concealer, this Hourglass one. This isn't new, it's just a tried and true concealer. So let's just cover these up. So I'm just covering some of my bigger blemishes that the foundation didn't cover, just because I didn't want to build the foundation up that much, and also my under eyes. Okay, now I want to get into one of the exciting products I got. I got this Fenty cream bronzer, or I guess in this case a contour, because I got the amber shade in this pan format. Also, I already used this once. I tried it yesterday, so that's why it has like an imprint in it. But yeah, a lot of you guys know that amber in the matchstix is like my favorite contour bronzing shade of all time. But a lot of you were telling me that this amber shade in the pan is more cool toned. I figured this might be an actual contour on me, which is really, really hard for me to find. Basically everything is like a bronzer, even the contouring shades. I'm gonna show you guys a swatch. Do that again. But yeah, like you can see how that's quite gray. I'm gonna compare it with the stick just to see how it compares. It's so hard to swatch like not facing me. But anyways, yeah, there's definitely a difference. This is the stick, this is the pan. The pan is a lot more gray. So we love to see that because this stick, a lot of people say how this stick is like the grayest, like most cool toned contour out there, but it's not actually that cool toned on someone of my complexion. Like this is more of like a neutral bronzing shade. Also, especially like if I blend it out, like you see how that, like that is a bronzer on me. It's not like gray at all. Let me blend out this amber. This is the pan one. Oh yeah. See how like this is way more cool tone and gray? So thank you to everyone who recommended this to me. This is like probably gonna be like a holy grail find. Anyways, just gonna take my little brush. This has an interesting formula. It's kind of like, it kind of feels a little bit silicone-y and it's very melty at first, but then it kind of dries down more matte, but not like a dry matte. But anyways, you can see how this color is like not, it's not like literally gray on me. It's just a good contour. So yeah, we finally have found a contour shade. I know this isn't a new product at all, so it's taken me a while to try this out. To be honest, I thought that the pan and the stick shades would be the same because they're both called amber, but they're not the same. I'm just letting you know if you were curious. But yeah, like you can see the difference, right? Like how this is just more snatched here. The only thing is I kind of like the stick format better. I just like kind of drawing on my face, even though like you're not supposed to if you want it to like blend out the most seamlessly. I just like the process of drawing it on my face. I don't know if anyone else feels that way. But yeah, this is like the perfect jawline contour as well, because it actually looks like a shadow, but it's also a really light shade, so it's perfect for lighter skin tones. Like that just looks so natural. I don't like doing a strong nose contour. I just like to kind of define it a little. This also is quite pigmented, so it is good that you don't have to like build it up that much. And it's like really giving my face a structure, which I love because I do need a little bit more structure to my face, especially after I blink it out with the full coverage foundation. But yeah, like you see how that literally gave me cheekbones? So it's looking good. Okay, now let me do my eyebrows off camera because I don't have anything new. I'm just gonna use these Unleashia products I've been using for my brows. This is the Unleashia brow pencil and this is the Unleashia brow gel. As always, everything will be linked down in the description. These I got from Amazon. Okay, now for the most exciting part, we have the eyes. So I got these two new Kaja beauty bentos. If you don't know, I love these. They were like in my favorite glitter toppers video, which I'll link up here. But yeah, Kaja came out with two new shades, so I had to pick them up during the sale. Since these are so cute and like compact, I always feel a need to like collect them. I think I'm gonna go in with this one today, but I'll also swatch this one. This one is 18 Coral Sunrise. It's the more coral stack. They feature this new mosaic formula, which is really interesting. Basically, it has like crumbles of different pigments pressed together and you can see the different colors. So yeah, this is a new formula to these two new shades. And then this one is just their regular like micro shimmery sparkle formula. And then here we have a matte brown with some glitter sparkles. I feel like this will just act as a matte on the eyes. I know some people hate the like mattes with sparkles, but I don't really care because it just acts like a matte. Here's the more neutral stack. This one is in the shade 19 Forest Night. So again, here's this mosaic lighter glitter topper. This is interesting because it has like deeper brown flecks in there. And then this one I dug my finger into, so just ignore that. But this is again the more micro shimmery sparkle. And this is like a really interesting medium brown that kind of has like a khaki undertone. And same with this matte shade here. It also kind of has a khaki undertone. I don't know if that's picking up on camera, but it's very neutral and almost like olive leaning. Okay, so now for the swatches. Let's do 18 Coral Sunrise. Rubbing my finger into the mosaic formula. It's one of those like very textured, kind of chunky shades. It also like picks up a ton on your finger, like even just tapping it a little bit. It seems quite thick of a formula as you can see on my finger. So yeah, that's interesting. Also the mosaic part didn't like mix together since it is thick. It's not really like a mixable formula. It probably will mix eventually, but not at first. Well, it's very chrome. Like it's very pigmented and impactful. Whoa, it's very sparkly. But it's a bit thick. It's one of those where it's like you have to like flatten the pigments or else like the texture sticks up, you know what I mean? So it's like I'm flattening the different pearls in here, and I mean that looks stunning. But yeah, just so you know, it does have that like thicker texture because I know some people don't like the flakiness of that. But actually once you kind of really like press it in, it's very smooth. I think this is just one of those that you have to be careful like when picking up, because you can pick up like too much product at once. And yeah, this is like a white gold. It's one of those white that kind of flips to the more champagne gold. I don't know if you can even see the gold pearl here, but definitely has a gold flip to it. And then here we have this middle coral shade. So yeah, this is like their usual glitter topper formula if you're familiar. I don't know why these swatches are so huge. I'm sorry. This is a really pretty corally color, but it kind of looks really similar to the Orange Blossom trio. So I'm gonna swatch compare that in a second, but it's like a fiery coral with gold reflect, you can see. And then we have this matte with glitter. This seems to be, ooh, it's very smooth. You can see how smooth that's blending out. Love that. It's a little bit more buildable, like it's not like one swipe pigment, but I like that. It's very smooth, like not patchy, just like a warm kind of terracotta brown. Goes perfectly with this trio. So that's 18 Coral Sunrise. All right, I'm gonna swatch this Forest Night one on this hand. So let's start off with the Chromey shade. So again, this has a very similar formula. Actually, I think this one's a little bit drier. It is quite textured and flaky. I'm just gonna swipe this the same way. So yeah, you can see how it has like that texture, but you kind of just have to smush it down with your finger. So definitely recommend finger application with this. And ooh, actually very pretty. It kind of has like this deeper bronziness to it. You can see here when it's not reflecting the light, but it's very, very high shine. It's like a deeper bronzy shade, but then it has a bright kind of warm gold, but it's like a honey kind of gold, not too yellow. So yeah, that's actually really pretty. It's like a really nice bronze shade. It's also not too warm, like it's not super orange, which is something I tend to look for in more bronzy shades because I don't like super warm tones. Okay, now we have this middle shade. So again, this one's a lot smoother and like the shimmers are more small and micro. So this is the swatch. This one's also quite multi-dimensional. This one definitely has like this khaki smoky undertone you can see here. It's almost kind of grayish. It definitely has that green and it has this like bronziness to it. There's also like these kind of magenta sparkles scattered throughout. So it's like a multi-dimensional shade that has like multicolored sparkles. Very pretty, kind of khaki leaning. I wonder if this would look like just neutral on an olive skin tone just because it has that like olive undertone, but it's not like straight up green. So this might be really flattering on olive skin tones. And ooh, that's a good matte swatch. It's very like smooth. Like you can see how that blends, right? It's very effortless. Yeah, so these are the three shades. Very pretty. I'm not sure if that khaki undertone is coming across on camera. I think just because it lacks red. It doesn't have the red that a lot of these neutral or warm bronzes have. So because of that, it looks kind of olive. So yeah, I feel like olive undertone people might really like this. See, I was like leaning a little bit cooler, so I think it's not gonna look like weird on your skin. So this is a really pretty like neutral, cool color story. And like look how high impact that chrome shade is. That's just like shining from very far away. Like, dang. Okay, I just wanted to compare this Coral Sunrise shade to this shade from Kaja Orange Blossom. This is one of their original Bentos. I'm just gonna put that here. Basically, this one's just a lot more like reddish coral. You can see that. It has a much more red base and then like a gold shift. Whereas this one is actually more just like a traditional like orangey coral. So yeah, there is a difference. I mean, they do still have like a very similar vibe. The new Coral Sunrise one is a little bit more neutral. Like it's kind of a little bit more muted, not as bright, besides being less red. And I do want to compare this top flaky shade with this one from the Peach Madeline one. So this was like one of their newer ones. This had this interesting flaky formula, which was new and exclusive to just this one and the Mauve Bouquet one. So this is kind of similar in that it has a more flaky texture. It's quite thick. Here is this one. Actually, maybe I should just put it on my wrist right here. Yeah, so it is similar, but not the same. Actually, I might like this formula from Peach Madeline better. So like, I don't know if you can see that. It has a lot more micro shimmery sparkles, whereas this new one is a little bit more chrome. So it's like more metallic, but less of that micro scattered sparkle, whereas this is also very impactful and kind of metallic looking, but you can kind of see the individual shimmers better. I don't know if that's picking up on camera, but in person that's what it looks like. Also the Peach Madeline one is definitely more neutral, like it's just a nice kind of rosy champagne color, whereas this one is more like that white gold flip kind of color. So the shades are different. They didn't dupe themselves with Inline, but they do have similar trios if you want a similar color story. Okay, let's just get into the eyeshadow already. So I'm gonna go in with this middle shade in Coral Sunrise. Since there isn't really a transition shade, I'm just gonna put this all over the lid and then kind of blend it out after. I definitely like using these as like one and done kind of shades, but I'm gonna use this as a trio today. I'm gonna go into the matte shade and use that just to deepen outer corner. Also, yeah, this is quite pigmented. And I'm gonna put this on the bottom lash line as well. You could also use this matte shade as a transition if you have like a deeper skin tone. I think for me it's a little bit deep to use as a transition, so I'm just gonna use it as an outer corner shade. Okay, I think I should have placed the matte down first because now the glitter has blended all the way out here. That was my mistake, but we'll just have to deal with that. I'm gonna go into the chrome shade. I'm just gonna tap a little bit on my finger and see if it comes off. Oh yeah, that worked pretty well actually. It does come off kind of quite thick, so it's possible it might emphasize texture. I don't really have like eyelid texture, but yeah, you can see right in the middle. It made it a lot brighter and it has a little bit of like a duochrome peachy effect. It's definitely shifting the colors a bit. I also don't know if this is gonna be good for the under eyes. Okay, yeah, I feel like it's not the best for the under eye shimmer. You can see how it's like kind of bunching up because you have to like really press the flakes down. So it's not the ideal formula actually. I feel like it's good for more like editorial looks, but it's not super like user friendly, I feel like. Okay, actually I've like pressed a lot of it down now. Like you can see how that looks a lot prettier. I'm gonna press a little bit on the inner corner. I don't know, see like now I'm using a much lighter hand with this because I got scared of adding too much. And with the inner corner it was a lot easier to do. So I think it's something you have to adjust your hands to. Like you want to pick up the tiniest amount because if you pick up too much, it'll be like a big flake. And then you have to like really like press the flake into your skin, which isn't the easiest thing to do on your eyeball. Just be aware. But it does look really pretty though. Like Kaja did not play when it came to their shimmers. So I'm gonna go off camera to finish up this eye and do the mascara because I don't have a new one. I'm just gonna be using this Clio Kill Lash one, which I've been using. So I'll see you back here with both eyes done. Okay, so now I'm back with the eyes all done. Let me zoom you guys in so you can see. Like, look how pretty those shimmers are. Also, can we take a second to appreciate my lashes? Like this Clio mascara really did that. Yeah, I'm obsessed with how this eye look came out. Okay, finally let's move on to the blush and get some color on my face. I want to use this new Juvia's Place blush. They came out with a bunch of new liquid blush shades and I think like the colors are so perfect for summer. Like look at this shade. It kind of matches my nails. Yeah, so I was sent actually the whole lineup and I did do an ad with them, but this video itself is not an ad. But yeah, in my ad I did show like my favorite shades and this one is one of them. So I think I want to use this one today just because it's the most warm toned. But I also have this one called Marigold, which looks really pretty too. And it's like a very corally color. I just don't know like how warm toned I want to go, you know? These are very much like the Rare Beauty blushes, but they're a little bit dewier. And I would say the shade lineup is a bit brighter. Here's a lot of the shades that I have. They also do have these deep shades as well. So they do have a pretty inclusive shade range. But all the shades are super pigmented, so I'd actually recommend it if you have a deeper skin tone. Let me just show you, like you can see that pigment, right? Like that is so much. She's colorful. Like you see how pigmented that is, but you can see how it just like blends super easily. So if you have a light skin tone, I definitely recommend maybe not applying directly to your face. You could, but it's just really pigmented, so you're gonna have to like wipe that applicator off and look at that glow it gives. That's so pretty. But actually, I think I might want to do my new little blush hack that I learned. I've been mixing like more pigmented blushes with this concealer. This is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Concealer in the shade Fair 20N. And this concealer is actually too light for me, as you can see. So I figured I might as well find a way to use it. But yeah, so like if you just make like a dot of your concealer, it will lighten your blush shade. Or it will make like the shade more muted down to be closer to your natural skin tone. Like you can see this difference, right? This shade versus this, which is the original. Like that's so much more wearable and natural looking. Let's see if I can show you the difference on this side. But yeah, you can see how immediately it's like less bright. Like this is actually such a good blush hack. I didn't come up with it, but I've been using it recently. I don't know if you guys can see the difference, but this is the original and this is like with the concealer. Like it's just a lot more wearable. If you find blushes are often too like bright on you or even like too deep, I can get this deep purple color to work for me when I mix it with the concealer. Like so this combo is so pretty. Once you discover the power of mixing your concealer with liquid blush, it's like life-changing. Also the concealer kind of mattified it a little bit. It depends on what concealer you use because I used a little bit more of a matte-ish concealer, like a natural matte, and you can see the difference here. Like it's a little bit shiny, but this is more like ba-bam shiny. So like with this concealer hack, you can really adjust your cream blush to be the finish and color that you want. Like I think that's so cool. But yeah, definitely try it out if you have like a blush color that doesn't work perfectly for your skin tone, or if it does work but you just want to make it easier to like wear. Look at that, it gave me such like juicy cheeks. Okay, so now we're gonna set, finally. My face has been quite dewy. So I have the Huda Cherry Blossom Powder. This I did not get during the sale, but I didn't buy a new powder because I don't need a new powder. If you didn't know, this has been one of my favorite under eye powders. This Cherry Blossom shade, like it's such a good under eye powder. It blurs everything and it really blends your blush into your skin. But yeah, this is the powder. Like you can see the difference. It is a little bit pinker under the eyes. It's now blended my blush into my under eye versus this side is like white here and then it's pink here, you know? Also, you can see the mattifying and blurring power. Like look at how it basically photoshopped this section right here. You can see the difference. Like this is how you get a filter in real life. You guys see that, right? This versus this. The only thing is like, obviously if you want to keep the dew, you want to keep it away from this part. But I'm probably not going to keep the dew just because I have been liking setting my cream blushes. There was a period of time where I liked really dewy cheeks. And I still like the look of it. Like I like how juicy my cheeks look. But I just think that, especially because like I film myself now, I feel like I've just been leaning towards more matte cheeks and everything. Because you can see how with the powder, it just blurs everything. Whereas before you could see all the like little texture. And if you didn't know, the camera definitely emphasizes like shine, especially with the lights and everything. So that's why matte tends to look better on camera. And I feel like that's why I've been gravitating towards more matte cheeks. Anyways, I'm gonna set in between. Yeah, you can see that difference, right? Like, pores where, bro? It's insane. I'm using the cupcake shade for like the rest of my face. This is just a regular skin tone shade. But it's like actually crazy, the blurring properties of this. Like, hello? Like I feel like this is why most beauty gurus like set their face, or like they like to set their whole face. Anyways, now I'm gonna go in with this Benefit shade called Shellie. I have a couple of these Benefit blushes already, but I got this new one in the shade Shellie. Also, I really like these Benefit blushes actually. They're really smooth. They have really cute colors, good shade range. Like they have quite deep colors as well. It has a fragrance though. It kind of smells like dry shampoo to me. It has like a fake powdery floral scent. I don't think it's terrible, but I guess if you don't like scented things, you might not like it. I'm just gonna set my face now. I'm gonna use this Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. I didn't buy this during the sale, but it is my favorite setting spray currently. Also, dang, I really drenched my face. But yeah, we'll just let that set. Okay, so I just removed the lip gloss I had on. So first I like to cover the edges with my sponge that has leftover foundation and concealer and whatnot, because it really helps blank out the lips. Let's see, which lip liner should I use? I didn't get a new lip liner, so I've been liking this Korean one from Heart%. This was like super viral in Korea. And this is in the shade Creamy Pink. And I'm gonna use this as a lip liner. And I think it's because this is a light shade. It just looks like it expands your lips. Like, cause it's about the same depth that my lips are, and I like to blend it out. So when you overline it, it just like expands your entire lip. Okay, and then for lip products, I'm gonna use these new Rare Beauty tinted lip oils. So these I didn't buy during the sale. Also, they're like all sold out right now, but they are my current favorite like Western lip product. But it's kind of funny because the reason why I like these so much is because they are basically K-Beauty glossy lip tints. If you're not familiar with those, these are more like a glossy lip stain. I wouldn't have personally called these lip oil. I feel like it's kind of misleading. It's just a really pretty stain that has like a shine finish, but then the shine wears off relatively fast. But these are actually transfer proof in the sense that like the color stays on the lips and only like the shine transfers off. They're very interesting. So actually I think I'm first gonna go in with this shade called Happy. This is like a brighter pink. These have a minty sensation, which normally K-Beauty tints don't have, but this doesn't smell or taste like mint, which is really unique, I feel like, for those minty plumpy products. Like they always smell like mint, but this one doesn't at all. But if you don't like those like menthol-y products, you might not like this. But yeah, these are amazing. They're my favorite Western lip product. Also, another cool thing about these is that they don't have any fragrance, or at least not any that I can tell. And I'm pretty sensitive to fragrance in the sense that I can usually smell things that other people can't smell. Also, this is a little bit too pink for this look, so I am gonna add this shade called Joy. I want to do like a little bit of a gradient, but this one's like straight up orange, so that's why I wanted to add the pink first, because I don't want it to be orange, I want it to be like corally peachy. Oh yeah, that's gonna be a good combo. Like it's already kind of mixing, Also, another great part of these is that they're not sticky at all. Like, they're actually quite thin on the lips. Not like thick and heavy, kind of like the Dior lip oil. It's not like that at all. But I also feel like it's quite hydrating. Like, you can see that it has that high shine finish. So pretty. But yeah, also these Rare Beauty ones, they have a bunch of like nude, more brown shades, which aren't as easy to find in K-Beauty. Although K-Beauty has been coming out with more nude shades recently, but not so much like those brownie shades. Yeah, these are really similar to like the Romand tints, if you're familiar. Specifically, I think it's the most similar to the Glasting water tint, but it's also pretty similar to the DEWYFUL water tint as well. That's actually about it for this look. Let me fix my hair and just kind of wrap up my final thoughts. Right, now I'm back with the hair all done and the finished look. So what do we think? Let me know what you think of these new products I tried out. I actually really love how everything came out. It's a bit on the brighter side, but it's definitely putting me in like the summer mood, even though it's a little bit early for summer, but we're like getting there. Especially because, I don't know about you guys, but it's been really warm where I live. Like, it's been hot, like 80 degrees. I'm already in the summer mindset. So let's just briefly recap about the things that we tried today. First off, the KVD Good Apple Serum Foundation. This I actually like surprisingly really like. Like, I mean, just look how perfected my skin looks, but it doesn't look like super heavy or cakey despite being like a full coverage foundation. I do think it is because of the way I applied it, which is with the spatula and the sponge. So that kind of like shears it out and makes it look a lot more natural and applies it in a very, very thin layer. So I think if you want this to look the best, that's gonna be the way to go. And also, this is probably one of the best foundation shade matches I've had in a while. I mean, I can usually make most foundations work. Like, you know, you just kind of tweak it with your other face products. Definitely recommend swatching the shades in store if you're curious about getting this foundation. But if you're my shade twin, Light 010 is a perfect match. Like, it's so good. And as I said earlier, I did wear a whole day yesterday and it held up really well by the end of the day. Like, it held up through sweat. It lasted 8 hours. So yeah, so far I really like this and I think I'm gonna be using it a lot in the summer, especially because it is one of my more matte foundations. It's not like a drying matte, but it's one of those that kind of like self-sets, and it does mattify the skin a little bit, but it's not gonna like totally strip all the hydration and moisture out of your skin. And you can see like with all my other products too, and after like the setting spray and everything, like it still has a very natural finish. So I definitely do recommend for people who have like slightly oilier skin just because it is more mattifying. So far I'm actually pretty impressed with this foundation. Next up for the Bobbi Brown color corrector. Love it. Very similar to the little pan one I have. But yeah, I feel like this one's a little bit thinner. So I don't know, I like it. It's also very creamy, like it goes on very smoothly. But yeah, for this Fenty Amber contour, I mean, this is the best contour shade I've found so far. You can see how it gives me that cheekbone that doesn't exist. It gave me that jawline that didn't exist. It's also a really natural nose contour. I don't know if you can even tell. I think it looks great. And this is the only contour color I found so far in my entire lifetime for my skin tone. So if you're like me where like everything turns warm on you, this will be an actual contour color on you. But it like won't look gray, it just looks like a cool tone contour. So love this. Okay, next up for the new Kaja Bentos. I actually really like how my look came out. Like, it's super glittery and you can see it from like really far away too. Like if I just come back here, you can still see how glittery that is. It's just stunning, especially I think if I go out into the sunlight or if it's like in dim lighting too. Both of those, like, it would look so good. The impact of the shimmers is just as good as the rest of the Kaja Bentos if you're familiar with those. The only thing is, I'm not the biggest fan of this new Mosaic Chrome formula, mainly because it is a little bit fussy, but like now that I'm more used to working with it, I know to use it just really lightly. Like to pick it up, you want to tap your finger. You don't want to rub or swipe how you would in other shadows necessarily. You want to just tap a few times because that will pick up enough pigment for you to get this kind of look without getting kind of crepey looking and like chunky. So yeah, it does have the downside of getting really thick really fast. It's not the most fuss-free. I think other bentos are like easier to work with because of that. I don't think this hinders the palette enough to where I'm like, oh, you shouldn't buy it, because I love the end result so much. Like, it's so pretty. I think this one will be really pretty for neutral everyday looks. Like, these are stunning. I think they'll look great on the eyes. It's just that this new Mosaic formula isn't my favorite. If you're one of those people who wants like fuss-free, like mistake-proof kind of formula, I don't think I would recommend these to you. But if you are more experienced, or if you like that more textured kind of flaky look, I think you might like these. Like if you were a fan of those Rowan eyeshadows, I think you would like these. But yeah, it's like more for a specific market, or if you can kind of manipulate these to work with your preferences. So that's my thoughts on that. I'm a little bit ambivalent. This Juvia's Place blush, stunning, great Rare Beauty dupe. It's a little bit cheaper too. It's like $5 cheaper than the Rare Beauty. I realized that Rare Beauty is now $23, which when it launched, it was like $20. But yeah, these are $18 on Ulta. So it's a little bit cheaper. It's basically the same thing, but a little bit dewier. And they have a pretty different shade range. They have really pretty shades. Like I really like this Blush Lily shade as well, but it didn't go with today's eye look, so I couldn't use it. It's a beautiful like lavendery pink. You guys know I love these kinds of colors, so I would recommend checking it out if you're interested. Next up, we have the Benefit Shellie blush. I mean, I only used a little bit of it, but I think it's really cute. It's a really great powder blush, no complaints. It does have fragrance, so if you don't like fragrance, you're not gonna like this. But I really like the packaging too. I think it's really cute. Okay, lastly, for the new products, we have the Rare Beauty Tinted Lip Oils. These are my favorite lip product on the Western market right now. Like my favorite lip product at Sephora probably. Love that these are super Korean beauty inspired. If you do want a cheaper alternative, I do recommend looking into the Korean glossy lip tints. Some of my favorites are from Roman and PERIPERA, so you can check those out. The most similar to these, I think, are the Roman Glasting Water tints, but I don't like the Roman Glasting Water tint shade range. It's also very limited. But then the next closest I would say is the DEWYFUL water tint, which has a better shade range in my opinion. And also the Roman Juicy Lasting tints are super iconic, like probably one of the most viral Korean beauty lip tints, and also has the widest shade range. So if you want to try that out, that would give you a similar effect, but it's not exactly the same. Like the texture and stuff is a little bit different. I also really like the PERIPERA Ink Mood Glowy tints, the PERIPERA Water Bear tints. Those are really good dupes as well. They're about like half the price of this. Usually, depending on where you get it. It's usually like $11 or so. But yeah, the main thing I think is good about these is that the shade range is a little bit different than K-Beauty. Not the shades I use today, these are very K-Beauty-esque shades. They have some browns that I think are harder to find in Korean beauty. Also, I really like that, you know, since these are sold at Sephora, it's just a lot easier and more accessible for a Western audience. I live in the West too, I live in the US. K-Beauty is a little bit harder to come by. You have to order online, so it's not the most convenient, and you usually have to like wait a little bit longer. For these, you can just pop into Sephora, and I like that you can swatch the colors, which you can't really do with K-Beauty in most of the US. So I just think this is a much more accessible option here in the States if you've been looking to try K-Beauty lip tints, or if you already know you like them, but it's more difficult for you to get the Korean lip tints, then this is also a good alternative. Anyways, I hope you found today's video helpful and you liked trying on some new products with me. Let me know what you guys picked up in the sale if you did shop it. I'm trying to post more here on YouTube. So yeah, I hope you guys will see more of my face in this horizontal format. But I do post a lot on TikTok if you're curious. And sometimes I repost those as YouTube shorts. So if you want to see me more often, you can go follow my TikTok, which I'll link down below. But yeah, that's about it for today. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and comment and subscribe down below if you want to see more content like this, because it really helps on my channel and it would really mean a lot to me. And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.